blessing to me just coming out here and seeing him come out and shake hands. And, yeah.
See how comfortable he
Get a
is.
song book that says a lot.
Yeah.
That's our Sunday school right there. I felt good all weekend. I don't know why. Yeah, it's been a good weekend. I was telling Dad and Brandon that for it seems like the past couple Saturday nights before church, and preach all night long in my sleep. And I don't know why. Last night I got up 3 or 4 different times. I just knew that I was going to be tired this morning. And every time I close my eyes, I start preaching, and I get up and wake up and get up and drink of water and lay back down, and I'd start preaching again. Looked at the clock. The last time it was about 4 in the morning. And woke up this morning early before my alarm went off. Got here early and felt good. Feel rested. I'll just speak just a few words. I don't know. I feel like God wants me to speak a little bit. Bless the Lord. I've had a couple things on my mind. I know there's just a couple of us here. Just thinking about what's going on in politics right now, and all the mess and foolishness that's going on. And I don't have a whole lot of faith in government. Never have. Yeah. My only desire for government is for them to leave me alone. That's all I want. You know, our system is based on majority. Everything in it. Chad. Every section of the legislative branch and the executive branch and the judicial branch, they're all based on a majority. The Senate and the House. Anytime decisions are made, it's based on a majority. Yeah. Majority rules. You know, I was thinking about how many examples in the Bible here can we read, and how many examples in our lives, in our generations, as the majority got it wrong. Okay? You know, when they come back from looking over at Canaan's land, and they said, we can't go over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The majority was scared to death.
Yes, it was. Even though
Fear
God told
spread
them.
through.
God told you.
We can't go over there. And they were wrong.
Yep.
And you know what? When
With the natural eye, weren't they?
the majority of Israel said, we need a king.
Yep.
Yeah. We want a king, a physical king.
Everybody else has them. They rejected God.
And they got Saul. How'd that work out for them?
Yeah.
They got it wrong.
They rejected God as their king.
And you know what? When little David come and he stood before Goliath, just a boy with a staff, a shepherd.
Yeah.
And he looked out at the vast army and how his people trembled in fear and they cringed, looking at Goliath, saying, we can't defeat him. The majority was wrong there. And you know what? When Jesus was standing before them with Pilate there, and they were beating him, listen. And you know what? Pilate looked at him and said, I'll give you one prisoner here. Who do you want me to release? What did the majority say? They said, give us Barabbas there. Yep. Listen. And you know what? They were wrong. But listen, when Jesus was hanging there on the cross with them, listen, and they took his life, and he looked up and said, it is finished. People, you know what? When they went to the tomb and looking for his body, listen, and all his disciples, all the majority there that had come to follow him, listen, they were so defeated. We thought that he was come to save us. They were wrong. Listen, you know what? I can see our society all over that. Listen, you know what? When old Stephen was standing before that crowd there, and he was rebuking them, listen, and he looked at them and said, listen, ye uncircumcised, ye stiff-necked in heart and ears, how long are you going to deny God, the true and living God? Who have received the law by the disposition of angels and not kept it. Listen, and you know what? When they heard these things, it cut them in the heart. Hadn't felt like that before. Condemnation, listen, set it on them. And they attacked him there. They laid their hands on him, and they sunk their teeth into his flesh. Then obviously and tore them up for them to want to bite him. Listen, just to get him to stop. But when they were attacking him there, Stephen looked up and said, behold, listen, I see the glory of God, and I see Jesus standing at the right hand of the throne of God, Lord. And they cried out and covered their ears and drug him out of the city. And they began to stone him and take his life. But no one, he had enough strength left to kneel down on his knees while they were killing him. And he cried out and said, Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. And he went to sleep, and the Lord took him home. There's your majority for you. Don't let this world tell you that there ain't nothing to this thing. People, but you know what? I bore witness to it. I've experienced too much. Listen, just like a few weeks back when Brandy was up in Kentucky, listen, and her brother had that little newborn baby, and the lungs weren't working, and the doctor come in and said the oxygen is only at about 15%. If it gets any lower, she's gonna die. The majority had given up. The doctors had said, there's nothing we can do. You need to start planning for the funeral. And her older brother, big burly Harley Davidson driver, listen, I just sat down and started sobbing a little bit, and he kicked everyone out of the little room there, and Brandy started to leave, and he grabbed her hand, listen, and And he said, sis, you need to pray for me. I don't know how. Say a prayer for me. And my little girl listened. And my wife just sunk down and prayed and called out to the Lord. Lord God, one more time. We need you. The world's given up. One more time. We need you to take over. Listen, don't you know that my Lord is the majority? He holds it in his hand. Listen, and you know what? As soon as she got done praying, that doctor barged in the room and said, I couldn't wait to come in here and tell you that baby's oxygen just went from 15 up to 95. She's gonna be okay. Her lungs started working on their own. People, if we had the eyes of Stephen, they would have seen Jesus standing right over that little baby, giving it its next breath. Listen, aren't you glad that when the world gives up, we can get on our knees?
That's right.
We can get on our knees and say, we've done all we can.
Lord.
I need you to take over. I don't know why we wait till it gets to that point. It seems like that the more that we try to do things on our own, the more of a mess we make. I love having a personal relationship with my Lord. I love it. It's the most precious thing I have.
Nobody can take it from you. Nobody can get
And it's mine. It's our relationship.
Slow it down.
I tell people all the time at work, I don't really consider myself a religious person. I consider myself a child of God.
That's right.
I consider myself a Christian.
Right.
You can have religion.
Pour this world up.
You know, when I was in Poland for those couple weeks a while back, and I got to see a big spectacle. I videoed it with my phone. My first couple of days there. And you know what? It's like going back in time to see the little town there. And it's cobblestone and old historic buildings, and it's beautiful.
Old time world.
And you know, all the little roads and alleyways, they led to this center. Center, town square, if you will. And there was a beautiful church there. And I was out walking one day and I heard something that sounded like somebody speaking through a megaphone in Polish, and I didn't understand it. And I got out and walked, and I seen a huge crowd of hundreds of people gathered in the little town square. And up in one of the third-story balconies in one of those buildings, there was a man. I guess he was a priest or something, but he was praying, and everybody had got down and knelt down, and it was pretty to see. But you know what? It don't take a grand show like that. We can have that right here.
Already did.
Right.
And it's just like when I went, I was feeling so low, so down, missing church. And I remember it was my first Sunday there. And I was thinking, I was looking at my clock, and it's obviously a different time zone. But to me, it felt like it was church time. And I was thinking about John's, and I was so down, and I just decided to get out and go for a walk. And it was cold, gray morning, and I started walking and trying to talk to the Lord, just to have a conversation with Him. I was feeling awful weak, being a stranger in a strange land. But you know what? God was right there with me, walking. You know what? And as I started talking to him, I heard a little bell start ringing. Listen, and it was awful pretty, and I just started to follow it. Walking one of the aisles, and there were carriages passing me. Listen, and I felt like I was back in ancient times. Listen, you know what? And I followed as I got closer to the little bell there. I seen it was an old church. Listen, and there were people going in. Listen, and they shut the doors. And I decided just to go up and see what was going on. Listen, and I just opened the doors and snuck in and sat down in the back pew there. Listen, and listen, they started singing, and in come that same man I had seen, that priest there leading that mass. But oh, and he got up there and they started reading. I guess it was Catholic there, but I started reading a little bit, and when it come time, I guess to dismiss there, everybody kneeled there, bowed their heads, and started praying there. So listen, I'm just an old time, old regular Baptist. I started praying the only way that I know how. Listen, and I must have got a little carried away praying there, because when I got done and looked up, every head was turned looking at me, probably 100 people or so, and I felt about that big. Listen, I felt ashamed, but oh, I just sunk down in my seat there, and they got up and started leaving, walking through and passing me, and I was just trying to wait and follow them out at the end, but oh, the last one to leave that building was an old man. Listen, and as he got up and started walking by me, he stopped and he looked at me and he come over and he put his hand on me. Listen, and he started tapping his chest and nodding his head. The Spirit of God is a universal language. It doesn't matter what you're saying, because you can feel it like the rain, rushing wind. Listen, you can feel it.
Yeah.
And I left there feeling pretty good. Me and that fella had church that day.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I felt
don't
good
doubt
leaving
that.
there.
Don't doubt that at all.
Aren't you glad that it doesn't take a grand show? It doesn't take a big spectacle. You can have church just you and the Lord.
Yeah.
Because you know what? The Bible says where as many as 2 or 3 are gathered.
That's right.
But you know what? When it's you and the Lord's there, there's 2.
That's right.
That's all it takes. You come on, Brandon.
No, we'll go ahead and
Close
close
it
it
out.
out. It's been good.
Well, I'm thankful this morning. I didn't mean to. I'm not planning on taking
I had
much
a better meeting
time.
today than I did last night.
I'm so thankful this morning that we've got a God that doesn't look at the outside. He's not looking at what we're wearing or how many's here. He's not looking at the state of this old building here.
Nope.
He's more concerned with what's inside
He's
the
looking at our
hearts
hearts, though.
of men and women.
For sure.
He's concerned with the state of your soul this morning. People, you can go ahead and sing whenever you want. I want to say as the sister sings here, listen, then when God begins to move in you, don't wait, don't let it slip from you, because you're not promised another opportunity. Take the opportunity that God gives you and do His work. God bless you.
All is
Be about His business. I love this.
Yeah,
on that happy golden shore. What a day, glorious day.